Welcome back, very brave adventurers of the strong opinions. You are at the very pinnacle of your quest to free Tallenstad from the darkness and evil that has leached off its people for so many years. Spearheading the attack on the Malgarth mansion known as the Schloss Adler, built atop an ancient druidic city, which once, long ago, protected a rift in the plains, a weak spot on the material plane, where intrusions from other dimensions could break through. Places and creatures so alien and unknown that they would dominate all life, redesigning it in their own image at the click of a finger. Titans long since banished by the gods, or betrayer gods themselves, sealed in vaults of light, stone, sea, and air. Deep beneath the surface, far enough away from prying eyes, protected, secured, and guarded. The Druids knew this, and gave their lives to protect this rift. Each of them consumed in a brief flash of light from the epicenter of the rift. A doomsday weapon was activated as a failsafe. If something tried to breach the rift beyond their control, the weapon would activate, collapsing the rift, but also destroying the city in milliseconds. Those they left behind, centaurs, dryads, pixies, yetis, dragons, and giants, were divided by the conquerors of Malgarth. Some were killed, some were banished, others captured and forced to work slave labour, digging out the epicenter under the mansion. Malgarth, a brave society of knights, holy warriors, paladins, and clerics, devoted to the holy light of Pelor, Sarenrae, and Zivelin. A peacekeeping force who did a lot of good for the people of Wildmount before the calamity, before the dark times, before the Empire. A young knight hunted down and destroyed the Malgarth holy warriors, casting dispersions, mistruths, and falsehoods to allay, dissuade, obfuscate, and discombobulate from pursuit, advantage, welcome, aid, sustenance, shelter, or assistance in battle. One by one, the order of Malgarth fell to his blade and bow, for he was the chosen of his god, the one tasked with undoing Malgarth, for bringing it low and into darkness where it could be forgotten, rebranded and refocused under his will by the command of his master. Laying in wait like an old crocodile, Malgarth now joined with the Empire, formally recognizing its authority and accepting generous support to uncover that mystery of Tallenstad. Just why had the Druids activated that failsafe? Such a place just ferments and imbues evil people with a will to meet more, and soon the Council of Malgarth was reformed. But this time, instead of holy warriors and paladins, it was vampire and lichen lords, necromancers, dangerous sorcerers, mad scientists, and crazy lawmakers, fanatical followers intent on nefarious plots. All of it in secret, staying just out of sight, but still influential with access to raw materials and workforce. Slowly corrupting the Ravenites of Tallenstad, poisoning the food of Blumenthal, helping the Drow raiding parties find ways to Zadash and Felderwin to avoid the Imperial patrols. They played both sides of the coin, always with a central goal of red bloodlust to complete the ceremony to bring back their god. New races of kobold and giant were grown under the mountain to mine the treasures there. A beholder was recruited to govern it, and a kraken was imported to help out. Johann was happy, ensconced in his little throne room with plenty of time and help to hand. He had no idea that a group of adventurers called the Strong Opinions would be way more trouble than he could handle, getting further than any of the adventurers before them. Now, after diving headfirst into the fray, dispatching flying skulls, kobolds, dracoliches, and krakens, the strategic manoeuvring and complex dynamic shift of escalating priorities resulted in an outcome that tilted the scales away from you. Snatched away Kel, your warlock, and despite his best efforts to prevent it, Ozim, the druid too. Dragging the unconscious Kel towards the void, Ozim had one hand on Kel's unconscious body and one hand flailed for something to grab onto. Finding purchase on a trouser leg, He looked up into the smiling face of Johann Briarwood, his deep golden yellow eyes staring back with a look of partial respect to an enemy, but also a satisfactory victory. As he kicked Ozim's arm away, he flew back. The last thing he saw was Johann winking at him. Valsaurus Wilthrin, the moon is out. Even though you cannot see it, the glow radiates down, sprinkling across the verdant fields and meadows, wrapped in fluffy, thick white snow blankets. Some of this light is captured in a bead of ice, which trickles slowly down through the bedrock, carrying this moonbeam. As you see Ozim get kicked and go tumbling into the void of doom, vanishing from sight, this small bead of ice water drips from the ceiling of the cave, and were it not for the precise location of the ball of doom, it would have dropped harmlessly onto the floor. Instead, it curves towards you as it's dragged towards the ball, ricochets off your nose with a flash of moonbeam, and lands splat onto your holy symbol, horseshoe of the Moonweaver. A divine glow spreads, coating you in a fine mist of moonbeams that slow down time for you. You hear a light tinkling voice whisper, "All you need to do is say help, and I'll be there for you, my champion." As a surge of pride runs through you have finally achieved this piety with your deity, your hand gripping your weapons, the moonbeam rain droplet slowly drops towards the floor in super slow-mo 4,000 frames per second. It's going to cost a fortune. Before the water droplet hits the ground, do you have anything that you'd like to do, Valsaurus Wilthrin?
Help!